going on, ladies and gents, in Cyberland? Coming back to you with another film review, and this time we're moving on to the fourth, Die Hard. Yeah, so. Another 3, Die Hard. So with this one, I was doing something on the computer and saw this trailer and totally caught me by surprise. That I was just didn't hear anything about Die Hard 4. Didn't even know that it was coming out. It was like when they did this one. It seems like unless you were a hardcore Die Hard fan, they were really low key quiet about making the film and that they were going to put it out. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, "Oh, this looks." It felt like Die Hard, but it felt like a little bit more current, which was cool because 3 came out in I think 95, 96. So this one's coming out in the late 2000s, and lots changed, and I think that was a good thing. I liked how they did this film with that. How does John McClane still be a cop in an environment where technology has really made a huge jump since the last film? And you kind of see that in parts of the film that John is pretty much almost a dinosaur in regards to how he does things and how things are done currently. And his sidekick kind of reminds him of that multiple times. As far as the action was really good. It wasn't as bloody as the other films. And the reason why was because for some reason somebody said, let's make this PG-13 instead of rated R, which was a huge mistake. The film should have been rated R. Because even if the film was rated R, people know John McClane and Bruce Willis is. They're going to take their kids are going to go see this. Outside of like 2 scenes in Die Hard 1, there was nothing that what made the films rated R was the violence and the language. But there was never any like sexual stuff. So making it PG-13 was just not a good idea. And the funny thing is, everybody said, well, he's going to say his verse, his line. He's going to say that, but otherwise there won't be any cussing. And that wasn't a good idea. And it was so not a good idea that the backlash. The film did good, and people liked it. It was really good. But the backlash, because of that they ended up coming out with 2 versions of the film. They came out with the unrated and the PG-13, and the unrated felt more like Die Hard because some of the violence was amped up a little bit, but then also the language was where it should be. The villains don't necessarily have to cuss, but John McClane, that's just part of who he is when he gets irritated. This film takes place really not in New York. It's more so like Jersey, DC area. Because it's during the 4th of July or leading up to it. And Timothy Olyphant is the villain, and pretty much he's trying to attack the country, but through computers and stuff. You can say, well, that's kind of lame. Like, nah, not when you see what he's able to do, and then when you see how far computers have gone or come and what they can do technically, if they're being utilized for wicked purposes, you see that. And then he has a repertoire of pretty well-equipped men and women that they're able to do what they need to do, and you see it throughout the film. I felt Die Hard 4 wasn't better than 1 and 3, but it was better than 2. I don't think any Die Hards are going to be better than 1 and 3. I think those are the best of the bunch. But it was better than 2 because it did have that balance. So I rated for it as an 8 out of 10 yes sirs. And then also you get to see one of John McClane's kids in the film. I think it was a little sad that John is no longer married. He's divorced. It's a shame. But then that also gets brought up in the film too about why he does what he does and the reasons behind it. So. It wasn't preaching to anybody, to the audience, but it was just saying, like, he understands that what he does it comes at a cost, and there is a sacrifice involved, but he does it for the greater good. And he never talked about that before this film, and it was nice that they finally put that in perspective, because he just did what he did. But it was nice to say, you know, when the speech he kind of gave lets you know that it has meaning, especially after what we've seen with 1 through 3 and with 4. There was some cliches in it, though, with regards to the action. It almost felt like they were kind of going for the transporter with some scenes where, okay, nah, that's not gonna. Whereas 1 through 3 had scenes where it's like, okay, that's not. It was more grounded, but 4 started having some elements where it's just like, come on now. Like, it wasn't as grounded when it came to the realistic parts of some explosions and some action scenes, I would say. So, if you've seen the other ones, haven't seen 4, try to find the unrated version. Don't watch the PG-13 version. The unrated version it feels more like a Die Hard film as opposed to watching the PG-13 version. So that being said, I will catch you guys on the next one. Take care.